Mae Krier, an original Rosie the Riveter, was born in 1926 in North Dakota. After the bombing of Pearl Harbor, Mae, her sister, and a friend headed to Seattle, Washington, where Mae became a riveter for Boeing, making B-17s and B-29s for 92 cents an hour. She met Norm, her late husband, a sailor, on the dance floor in 1944. Norm was transferred to Pasco, Washington, and in April 1945 they were married. She left Boeing to work for the Army engineers with Italian prisoners of war in Pasco. Eventually, they settled in Pennsylvania, where they raised their 2 children and where Mae still resides today. Mae joined other Rosies to get the first national Rosie the Riveter Day in 2017 and the Congressional Gold Medal for Rosie in 2020. During the pandemic, through her Facebook page, Honor Rosie, Mae, with the help of companies, groups, and individuals, made and mailed well over 6,000 red and white polka dot face masks. 5,000 masks went directly to her Honor Rosie followers. In 2022, her face mask and bandana were worn by Rosie the Rocketeer in the commander's seat of the Boeing Starliner, which traveled to the International Space Station and back. In April of 2024, Mae accepted the Congressional Gold Medal on behalf of all Rosies. It was a great honor to her. Mae continues to travel the world to promote Rosie the Riveter's legacy. And at 100 years, Mae still cuts her own grass. Now it's time to join Breaking Barriers with Mae Krier. Hello, Mae.
Hi, Deb. How are you doing?
Okay, I have to fix that intro. It's like too draggy.
It
It also means you can't do anything else outstanding because then it'll be way, way too long. And let's give a little report. When's the last time you cut your grass?
Yesterday.
There you go. You're still at it with your tractor.
Well, yeah, it wasn't so hot. Thank God I wouldn't be doing it today.
Yeah.
It worked out nice. It was a very nice day. It was nice. I went out in the morning. It was early in the front, but the back I've got a lot of trees, so it was pretty nice back there.
Well,
So I got it done.
you're still doing it.
I
That's
still
100.
Yep, and I still like doing it.
There you go. So today, our guests are 2 friends of yours, Dani Masterson, who's known as the American Taps Girl, and Virgil, I'm sorry, I'm not going to say your name right, Capollari, incoming commander of Wappingers, probably said that wrong too, VFW Post 5913. Welcome to the show.
Hi, guys.
How you doing?
Hey, Mae.
Hi,
Hey, Deb.
Hi, Virgil. Oh, it's great to see you.
How you doing, ma'am? Deb, thank you for that warm introduction.
Did I say your name right?
You did.
Okay, that was unusual. Okay.
You even said Wappinger Falls, right?
Well, you know what? I wasn't sure. So anyway, let's start with Dani because I'm more familiar with what you're doing. So can you tell us about tapping and about the 365 nights of taps?
Sure. Last May 27th, we did a countdown to the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II, which would be National Spirit of 45 Day. So I talked with Virgil and discussed sounding taps every night for 80 nights straight. And we did that up at the VFW Post at 5 p.m. every night. And then we got called to come to other municipalities to do it in their town as well. So we're going strong. I decided to go to 100 days and I went to 150 days. And now tonight was night 357.
Wow.
So yeah, I will just say it here. We're going to go to 500 nights. And the reason I'm going to go to 500 nights is because the Post and Auxiliary is celebrating their 80th year as well. So I'd like to kind of get it to the 80th anniversary of the Auxiliary.
How long have you been doing this?
Sounding taps,
Mhm.
45 years.
Wow.
Off and on 45. I've been playing the horn 45 years. I've been sounding taps probably close to 38 years.
And Danny, how many places with the area you cover? The last I talked to you, you were going to Washington,
I,
down the memorial, and that was just recent.
yeah, I think that picture is from two weeks ago. And what was beautiful about that is that there was several school trips there. So they actually had me stay for probably 90 minutes after to sound for each school trip that was getting off the bus and coming through the memorial there. I mean, that World War II Memorial is my favorite place to go to. It's a beautiful, beautiful place.
Isn't that beautiful, that rainbow behind the monument, and you in your colorful clothes?
And did you notice that I had your scarf there attached to my pants down there?
Well, that just shows we can do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a beautiful picture. I love it.
Thank you.
Danny, what do you figure is the most emotional or the most important? I know there's so many you've done and so many different places. Do you recall anything in particular, one particular one or many particular ones that you?
All of them. However, Chancellor Hellman, do you remember Bruce Hellman? I did his funeral in Virginia. He was the guy, the World War II vet who rode his Harley to Alaska to talk to Gold Star families. And him and I became very close. I believe you met him once.
Oh, did I? Yeah.
Towards the end of his life. I believe so. They're all emotional. They're all very important to me. It's the last nice.
You even played in my yard.
I sure did. Virgil was there for that. Yeah.
Tell him what I said when you get done playing.
You said with all those birthday cards, now they're going to give you condolence cards. Leave it to you.
Danny and I met many years ago down in Washington, D.C. We were going to be on a float, I believe, wasn't it, Danny?
That's correct. Yeah.
And that's so funny. She just come over to me and she said, "You're Mae Krier." And I said, "Yeah." And we just hit it off right away. And she's done so many wonderful things. I just watch you and follow you, what you're doing. And you know, Danny, there's not a day I don't think goes by that you don't do something good for our country.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm just trying to do what's right.
Well, you do. I mean, it's so nice. And imagine how meaningful it is for the people in the cemeteries when you play taps. Anytime I hear taps, it just like gives you the chills. I mean, you realize that, you know what it means, how important it is.
To me, it's really important to have a live bugler and not a recording. And I always say that, you know, it's powered by heart and not batteries.
I
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you do such great things. And I just love the way you're into so many things. You know what? Tell us the story of this now, Danny.
This was actually taken the same day, a couple weeks ago. I want to say this was taken right after the rainstorm, and it was maybe the second or third school group. And they had come from the back. They saw that I was warming up prior to going out and sounding at 5 o'clock. And they had just missed the first sounding of taps. So we did it again. And they stayed around for quite a while.
Were you in school when you started to do this? What possessed you, or what made you decide? Was that your calling?
I was in drum and bugle corps growing up. I started really young, and I wanted to play drums, and my mother said no. So I played horn.
Well, tell us about the spirit of 45.
Sure, that's actually how I met Mae, was Spirit of 45. Yeah. So I believe we met at maybe the 73rd or something, maybe 70th, the parade in DC. So Spirit of 45, it's a national nonprofit. We teach this generation about the greatest generation. And obviously, you know, during the national moment of remembrance, we pause in DC. I sound taps off of the Spirit of 45 float, which Mae was on a couple different times when we did it. We did have a few World War II vets with us as well. And no matter where the float is during that parade, at 3 p.m. it just stops. So it's a really important organization to me and to Mae as well. And, it's just important to keep it going. And we're going into the 81st year now. And obviously it's the World War II vets, are not around as much. So I'd like to keep it going. I told Virgil that I'd like to do another wreath laying, in August, maybe not as big as last year, and maybe gradually get it bigger and bigger every couple of years.
Do you play at Arlington, Dani?
I have. It's a little different with the rules there, but I've played a couple times there.
Oh, that's right.
And it's very emotional. When I stop getting emotional, that means it's time for me to give it up. And I haven't stopped yet. I think I told Virgil, somebody I told yesterday, we did a funeral the other day for somebody. And when it's time to sound taps for a funeral, I get completely nervous and shaky and jittery. But when I do it every night at 5 o'clock, it's just like nothing. I just put my horn up and play. I have a full ritual of things I do before I play for a funeral.
But you not only play taps, you're very involved in you call it Wreaths Across America. What do you call that where you do all the wreaths?
That's Wreaths Across America. I want to say I started that in this location probably about 9 years ago. And then just this past year, Virgil joined, and now we're co-leaders for all the Wappingers cemeteries. And that's just, it's amazing. It's growing, and the children are getting involved. And that's what it's about for us.
Well, when I was down in Arlington, they were laying the wreaths all around in the graves. I forget what time of the year it was. They were putting up wreaths. And I said, well, who's doing all of this? There's so many different locations and graves. And they said they have different organizations for different sections of Arlington.
Yes, so it's Wreaths Across America itself.
Is that?
It's all, it's a national day in December. It's that second, I think it's the second Saturday. And it's a national day. And last year, I believe that it was like 4.3 million wreaths were laid around there.
That's amazing when you see it taking place. You read and see these things on TV and all, but to actually see it, it's so much more meaningful.
Yeah. I'm thrilled to have Virgil with us because he has a different connection and outreach than I do. And working together, we're bringing it.
Well, let's get over to Virgil for a minute, and you can rethink about what more things you can tell us. But Virgil, I have to tell you so much about the VFWs and the Legions. Right after World War II, they were all being built. They weren't. I don't know they were even active any before at that time. I'm not sure the history of it, but I know it was all new to us. It was Legions and VFWs. And they were the nicest organizations. Now, this was strictly World War II veterans. And I said they built these big things, and they had such nice, like they had the one Legion, this was a VFW where they had the big bands. They have Saturday night affairs. They'd have the big bands. It was a wonderful organization. We really enjoyed it. And of course, they used to have these, I'm going to call them lotteries, where they raise money to, and that was always exciting. But the people, the average people don't know what these American Legions and veterans organizations do. When I was going to Normandy, I had to raise, I think it was like $3,500, because this is the first time we were a private group and we had to earn our own money. And, I didn't know where to start. Of course, you start with family, first of all, and you drain them dry. And then you go to different organizations, and every Legion and veterans organization that I knew in our area, the Philadelphia area, I wrote to them. And you'd be amazed how many of them donated to my funds. It just made me so proud. And when I come back from Normandy, I wrote thank you cards to all of them. I had brought back Sam from Omaha Beach. And there's something that the average people don't know, what you men do. I mean, you're men and women, and what you do for charity and all. I think it's just outstanding. And, I have one little poem that it's not a poem, I have to read it, because Paul Keimer he was a commander of the VFW in Berkeley, and he has sponsored me in everything I do. It's absolutely amazing. And one of the things he wrote to me, and I just think it's outstanding, he said, "You and your remaining Rosies are a reminder of the final glimpse into World War II, when the nation was united and patriotism was the hallmark of the day. Indeed, this has been an exciting time for Rosies, also a rare opportunity to show and tell the greatness of our country and our fellow citizens." Paul Heimer from, I think it was Post 280 in Poughkeepsie, Pennsylvania. And that just stuck with me every chance I get. I post that. Isn't that amazing? I just think it's so nice. But I'm so honored how the VFW and the Legions helped me get to Normandy.
So, Virgil, you're the incoming commander of the VFW. Is that is that in June, or is that this year?
Yes, it will be next month in June.
Okay. So tell us about your outreach to veterans and how you promote patriotism, which is really, really important.
The VFW has a very long history. It was started in 1899 by veterans that had returned from the Spanish-American War. So it has a 126 plus year history, and with the American Legion after the First World War. These organizations were founded on trying to provide support for fellow veterans, especially with the wars, but they kind of evolved. And after the Second World War, when, as Ms. Krier noted, as when there was a larger influx in organizations being formed across the country, the purpose of them was to exist as veteran service organizations, primarily caring for vets, giving fellow veterans a place where they can come, support one another, seek assistance, and just know they're being supported. But there was another dynamic to it, which was promoting the values of patriotism. For many of the returning soldiers, seamen, and later to become airmen, they returned to a world where they had saved democracy, had saved the free world from an unspeakable totalitarianism. Therefore, it was incumbent upon them to not only organize, but educate and promote, so that the most cherished freedoms we have, we don't lose, and that we keep the spirit alive, per se. So, till today, these organizations exist primarily under that banner to ensure that we're servicing the community, because at the end of the day, that's really what it's about. For many of us who served in the military, we don't see it as just a service. It's a calling and a sense of duty. We don't expect everyone to necessarily understand it, but at the end of the day, I can assuredly say that with all of these veteran service organizations, we serve the community to ensure that our neighborhoods, our friends, our residents of the past, and our way of life lasts another 80 plus years.
And do you find that how is your membership? Is it going down? Is it staying? Is it going up?
Well, we know throughout the country there's a lot of challenges.
Mm-hmm.
However, we've been pretty fortunate here. We find that with more of the outreach that we do with community, that word has gotten around that we're getting involved, we're doing things, and we've actually increased quite a bit with our membership. When I first came on board a few years back, we were at about roughly 60. Now we're in the low 80s. So we just see this as a total net multiplier, but we mustn't rest on our laurels. And I think that the more we do, the more we incorporate and appreciate community, I think that word will continue to get around, and will multiply the positives.
Well, Virgil, when in our day, it seemed like World War II, they were more or less the founding. I don't know when they founded, but they became very popular. As the other wars came along, like the older men started to more or less fall away. And, like everything, the younger men took over. Now, when I was looking for funding from the VFW and the Legions, so many of them had closed their doors. Now, was that because of financial, or was that because of membership?
It's often hard to say. It's usually a combination of factors. One is community support kind of maybe dwindled. Maybe the outreach efforts probably weren't as effective maybe as they could be. An aging cadre of members. Because our organizations emphasize community engagement and outreach to the community, we can't expect to get support unless we're ready to support. And I think that as long as that message is maintained and, more importantly, primarily pushed, we may find ourselves trailing rather than kind of proactively engaging.
I imagine it's pretty hard if you don't have the area where you have a lot of veterans. You need support. I imagine that's more difficult too.
We often find that support can come from many different areas, and everything from local church groups to the Scouts to people in the community who do care. And we can't be picky. We can't pick and choose. We kind of lead with a positive message, and we have found in the past couple of years that by doing so, we actually attract the kind of support that really gives us a sense of purpose.
Well, getting back to Dani, Dani put the way she advertised my birthday. That's amazing. But Dani, you're very active in the VFW, aren't you?
I'm a member of the auxiliary. I was a member of the auxiliary years ago, and I recently went back about roughly a year ago, I think.
Yes.
About a year ago. So it's important to do this outreach and reach the kids. I love working with Scouts, and teaching them, because some of them, they just want to learn.
I was absolutely amazed about all of the people that the different programs, the charity people, the churches. I never heard of CARE before, and there were so many in those birthday cards. There were so many from CARE, and there were just so many different organizations that are so active to doing good things. Groups that you don't hear about every day, and I think that's nice to get that out here for people to realize. One of the things I loved reading those cards, I read every one of them. One of the ones I loved on one man wrote, he said, "You left a hell of a legacy, lady." I thought that was cute. Another one that was so cute, she wrote the card that said, "Silly, crazy, and badass." And I said, "Well, that's me."
That's great.
But that was so nice. I just love those cards. And
I still have 50 more to send you that are sitting on my computer desk.
That 50 more, that makes it close to 600, because there's hardly a day. Thursday, a couple came, they brought me a plant and a card. So there's hardly a week goes by that I still don't get cards. And I get the beautiful plant. And I think so funny, because my birthday by the time March was over, I was exhausted.
I bet.
It was a lot of fun, an awful lot of fun. But the way you put the notice out there, I was stunned. I think the cards came from 44 different states, at least that. Sure. And so I know there must be 600 cards by now if you still have 50. So.
I think I have one from New Zealand that's sitting in the pile, I believe.
Oh, yeah, because I think one lady said you're getting one from Australia. I just got one from the Netherlands, and I got one from Germany. And so, you're getting them from different countries.
I still get cards for other vets that I do it for the past couple of years, a year later. So, if it's out there, they see the address, they see the birthday, they just don't see the date on it. And they want to just make sure that they incorporate a card to somebody, and they send it out. Doesn't matter when.
There's no way you can thank everybody for these things. It's just absolutely amazing. And like I said, you can't imagine I would start to work and start reading them. Then I'd stop because I've done it for a while. It's like eating one potato chip. You can't quit with one. I go back. Some nights I burned the midnight oil some nights. And I really enjoyed them. Really enjoyed it.
We knew that when we left your house that day that you'd be sitting at the table for a while reading.
I know. I was anxious to get reading. I do. I read everything that comes in. Like today, I got cards from Germany, but they weren't birthday cards. They were something they wanted me to sign, which I do too. And now I promote radio. I said, you're asking me for a favor, and I'm asking you for one. So I asked them to donate to Riot's program, which makes it nice.
I saw the video with the spam.
Wasn't that great? She did a great
fantastic.
job with that.
Oh, yeah. Now she did the one with Hershey chocolate. Did you see
Yeah, I
that?
gotta share that one. That one's
I
good
didn't see that
too.
yet.
Yeah.
And she's doing so great. I just hope that that's a big job she's got ahead of her raising all that money. So God knows she sure needs all of us.
Yeah.
So I have a
What
question for you, Virgil. Do you, as a commander in Pennsylvania, commanders sometimes they have a project when they first go in as commander. Do you do that in your state?
As I'm incoming, yes, there's a certain project maybe or vision and way to kind of guide things along. The good thing about an organization like the VFW or the American Legions is that both at the state level and national level, they give us what their priorities are. Which once again, if we stick as close as we can to the tenets, the foundation of the organization, and we continue to promote outreach, leading by example, yes, there's certain areas, and it's a work in progress, and it really requires an all hands on deck approach.
And too, now that you've got a variety of wars, how does that affect you? I mean, do you still have any World War II vets that belong? How about the Korean now? I was with Thursday night. I was with a Korean vet from Connecticut. And it's very rare when I'm out with a Korean. It's usually Vietnam or World War II. So it's rare when you get. One day I was out with one with Desert Storm. That was the only one I've ever experienced with Desert Storm. So how do your men? What's the? What do you have? I mean, war. Do you have mostly like Vietnam, the latest wars, or Afghanistan?
So we've got a decent mix. It's mostly modern. However, at the end of this month, our oldest member, and he's a World War II vet. He turns 101. Our as we affectionately call him, our forever commander-in-chief, Alexander Hubner. He's going to turn 101 real soon. And he is a real breath of joy. He has a really positive, friendly demeanor. He wants to laugh. He enjoys being around the boys in the group here. So he's our oldest. We unfortunately lost our Korean War vet approximately 2 years ago. So the rest is mostly Vietnam, and then Gulf War in the early 90s, along with the Iraq and Afghanistan wars of the 2000s. So
you have conflict. Did they ever get that after a few years? Is there any conflict who won the best war or vice versa?
I think
Talk about it.
well, it's we make sure we show an extreme deference to our Vietnam veterans, our comrade brothers, our fathers, because they really took it on the brunt upon their return.
They did.
And those that are present, they've really worked hard to ensure that this post stood up during its roughest times. So we make sure we show them the respect that they deserve, and as incoming commander, they will know that I work for them.
Well, that's amazing because none of us won at that war. I mean, they didn't have any choice in the matter. My son was a senior at Penn State when the lottery came out for the war, and his number came out high. You can't imagine what a happy mother I was, because it just seemed like that we were losing our American men for no reason. And it just seemed so sad and I didn't understand at the time how abused they were when they came home. I didn't know that until a long time afterwards. Some of them said that people treated them terrible, like they were to blame for it.
We last October, I had the absolute honor and privilege of accompanying one of our Vietnam members, past commander, just all around community volunteer on his honor flight. And it allowed a certain conversation, a certain connection. And through the honor flight, we are seeing these Vietnam era veterans, those that served in Vietnam, be given the true dignity and respect that they deserve, despite what may have been happening socially and politically around them. Right. And it is absolutely speechless with just the impact and the smile on their faces as they are treated with the proper courtesy that they deserve.
That's true. Dani, getting back to you and you for both of you, but I'm very interested in your charity programs. When I read all those letters, I was just stunned how many different groups there are. And I know you must sponsor a lot of them, or they must have something to do with your VFW, some of your groups. There's so many that I didn't know about. That some are just, tell a little bit about that, Dani.
Are you referring to what came in on the cards?
Well, yeah, the different groups that belong to different groups that wrote cards to me.
Sure. Yeah. Well, we had the Tunison Foundation. That was the one, the Douglas C-47 Placid Lassie, which is a true World War II vet. You want to talk about the Lassie a little bit?
Yes. Through Dani, our post became acquainted with this historical gem that flew over Normandy and many other sites throughout battles and operations throughout the Netherlands and other parts of Europe toward the late part of the war. And connecting it with our Spirit of 45 event, we found that was a way of kind of bringing history back. And for the most part, the beautiful bird that it is kind of speaks without saying a word. But more importantly, along with the bird, we are veterans of foreign wars. So we think it's a great way to kind of bind the historical side of it with modern groups who want to support and want to maintain that patriotic message.
Virgil, what war did you serve in?
I served in the latter half of the Gulf War.
Gulf War?
Yes, the latter side of it with Operation Southern Watch in Kuwait along the Iraq border there. And I'd also served in the Balkans with Kosovo and some other areas. So,
well, do you remember the Desert Storm, Jessica? I forget Jessica's last name. The first woman that was injured that they made so much of the story of her. Jessica, I forget her last name now.
The POW, wasn't she?
Jessica Lynch.
Yeah. Lynch, yeah, from West Virginia. I thought that, I don't know if they used that for propaganda or not, but that woman went through a lot. I mean, her whole life, it upset her life completely. This is the sad part. Well, look at Tammy Duckworth. That was where she lost her legs, wasn't it? Desert Storm, or was that since then?
I believe so.
And I'd love to meet her. I just think she's a strong woman. I think I'd love to meet her. So like I said, those letters were so amazing. Like I said, so many things that you don't know about. Churches, too. So many churches have commented how the different things they do. The average person doesn't know how many people are giving, such giving people, and how hard they work to support our veterans. Well, everybody, but mostly our veterans, you know. So I just think that's outstanding. And that's why you got to get that word out. You've got to tell people. They don't realize, we're so busy, we just go about our day not thinking about what somebody else is experiencing.
What we try to do is we try to encourage all veterans, regardless of whether they're post-affiliated or not, to be narrators of their story. It's important to continue getting the message out because once we stop passing the message, it disappears.
That's one thing I really do when I go out among young girls and people. I keep telling them, talk to your grandparents, your mother, your father, because once they pass away, you're going to say, "Oh, I wished I knew what their story." My one brother-in-law was with General Patton. He has a outstanding military history, and when he passed away, nobody seems to know where his equipment, where everything went. And what a shame that is, because his history is great. I'm looking at the picture now.
So where is that from?
That is at our VFW post. A Iraq Afghanistan vet who was a member for many years before he moved away. He painted the mural. So he did that. It's absolutely breathtaking.
It really is. Danny, when we were on the float, we'd be riding by a group and they'd really applaud and cheer. And we thought they were cheering for us with the couple up there above us that was kissing.
Yeah, and that statue is actually the statue that was on the float with us as well.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
One day a friend of mine called and she said, "May, you won't believe this. I just passed a truck down on 95 or going down the highway or something that had a sailor and a horse kissing."
Yes, you're all welcome.
Yep. Yeah,
I've been to that a place in Princeton that makes things, and that is interesting because they took me through and showed me all the different statues. They're not just the World War II or wartime. There are many different types. That is really interesting. Really interesting.
It was an interesting ride home with the statue, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Everybody's waving and staring.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It was a nice addition to have it at our Spirit of 45 event. It was really a nice addition.
Yes, yeah. Dani, tell us what you figure is the highlight of your life. Do you have anything in particular that stands out above everything else? Because you've been so active for so many years.
It's a high of my life, right? So I would say sounding taps on the Midway would be one of them. That was for the 70th anniversary of the end of World War II, when I was up on top and you guys were all at the bottom with the giant flag. I'm the only one up there. And I said, wow, just look at it. It's a breathtaking view. And I took that one picture with the flag. And to meet so many World War II veterans that week, I knew nothing about World War II. And when I left a week later, I felt more like an adult, if that makes sense. Kind of going in as a kid, trying to be in a sponge and learning everything that I can from the Pearl Harbor survivors that were there. It was probably one of the highlights of my life.
Isn't that amazing when somebody asked you that question? Last year when I was down in Capitol Forest for that beautiful ceremony there, 4th of July, afterwards we were with the group that put it all together. It was late at night. And they said to me, "Mae, what do you figure a tribute to the highlight of your life?" And, that really sets you back because there's so many things that are so great in your life. But, I came up with two real fast, and that was being asked to accept that Congressional Gold Medal was one of the nicest honors of my life. You figure I'm representing millions of American women. But the second thing was, this was unique. This wasn't then. It was putting my face mask and bandana up into the International Space Station. That was pretty unique. So I guess, they're two of the important things, but the little things add up just as much as the important ones. Look at there. I could read that. When they opened this capsule up in space, I could read that.
Wow, that's amazing.
And that's what my father, we had nothing, we would grow up during the Great Depression, the Dust Bowl, the stock market crash. We had absolutely nothing. Our life was my storytelling, as my father telling stories around the potbelly stove at night. I've talked about the moon and the stars, that we didn't know much of anything else. We didn't know communication outside of our own little world. And that's, I always think about my father. I said, when I read that, all I could think of is I wish my father could see that. So, we all have great memories. And
And
you're just making yours. Mine might have been pretty old by now.
You're still making some good memories for sure. For sure. I always tell you that you are a true American treasure. And you really are.
I don't know, when you start these things, you like with me, I had no idea where I was going with it. I just knew it had to be done. And like I said, I did some dumb things. I made some stupid mistakes. You do this, but it got done in spite of everything. So, I mean, it's just determination. I came from a pioneer background, so that makes me determined, stick to it kind of person. And I just very pleased, very happy with the end results. Just think it's so rewarding. I was telling Deb today, we were laughing about it. I said, I've achieved everything in my life that I wanted to. Now I'm just sitting here doing whatever anybody needs me to do to touch a riot. And, whatever comes up with, now I'm kind of a free agent, so to speak. But you know what? It's so rewarding when we do these things. You both are going to agree with me, I know. It's so rewarding. That's your pay for all the work you do and all the things you do.
And we need to thank you both for your service.
Yes, and both of you. I mean, and Dani, you're not military, right, Dani?
No.
Yeah, but look at what you've done for the military. Can you imagine that? I can imagine that.
I'm just a bugler doing my thing.
You're just a pretty face with a horn. But Dani, imagine the miles, imagine where you played and things about that. I mean, it's amazing when you think about it. It makes you very proud of yourself, I'm sure.
Yes.
Well,
your kind words are appreciated, ma'am. But when someone says to me, "Thank me for my service," I always come back with, "Thank you for your support. You're continuing to spread the positive nature of patriotism, the importance of duty, the legacy behind all this. This is much more than just a simple thank you can convey. This strikes right to the heart of what our duty is about. So we would be remiss if we didn't thank you sincerely for all you've done and do."
Well, we can't do these things without each other. We need each other to do these things.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's very important when you get good support.
well,
Yes, ma'am.
we're about coming down to the end, but thank you both so much for coming on. We really, really are happy that you did and sharing your missions. It's awesome. Thank you. Oh, and of course, our
And
commercial. We can do it.
And Dani, you're a sweetheart.
Available on Amazon. It's the story of Mae's, not the whole story of her life, but a good amount of her life. So you want to get a good book, get We Can Do It on Amazon, and we would appreciate it. Thank you, Brandy. Brandy's our commercial. She remembers that. I don't have the book with me right now. Anyway,
It's a great book.
Thank you both so much for joining us.
And I enjoyed being with both of you. And I enjoyed when you want to come down. You're very welcome.
We're coming. We're coming again.
We'll blow taps out in my front yard again.
Absolutely.
We'll shake the neighborhood up.
It would be an honor, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Nice time. Dani, your story needs to be put out there. I know we talk about the veterans and all, but what you do is amazing. And I just think it's wonderful.
Thank you.
Your story needs to be told. And Virgil, thank you so much for what you do for our veterans, for yourself, for our veterans, for everybody. Thank you.
That was great, Mae.
That was. I just like him. Now I met Virgil for the first time when they came down to visit. There was 4 of them. I forget the other 2 ladies' names now. But that was so much fun. We had such a nice day together. And of course, Dani, I've known for quite a few years. And we just hit it off really well.
Well, so we're going to take a little vacation this summer. We're going to go fishing again, and we're not going to do a podcast. But we will. May you enjoyed that fishing line, don't you?
I do.
Anyway, we will be back in the fall, in September. So everybody have a nice summer. Stay cool, and everybody be kind to one another. Shall we power up, May?
Yep.
Here we
can
go.
do it. We can do it.
Do it. Bye.
Take care. Thank you, Deb.